Welcome to another interesting episode of the program Sports Preview on Bua Community Voice, proudly sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. On today's interesting episode, we'll be looking at the games coming through in the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. The new Champions League format gives room for a knockout playoff for teams before the round of 16. And of course, teams have been waiting and the fixtures are ready. Galatasaray takes on Liverpool. Atalanta play host to Bayern Munich. It will be Atletico Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano to take on Tottenham Hotspur. Newcastle at St. James's Park will host Barcelona, and that won't be all because the games will extend to Wednesday as usual, where it will be Bayern Leverkusen up against Arsenal, who were the league toppers in the league phase. Bodo Glimt takes on Sporting CP. Paris Saint-Germain will take on Liam Rezondo's Chelsea. Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu to take on Manchester City, a fixture that repeated up to a quadruple. And then you begin to imagine who is coming out to the last eight. So on this episode, I will be flanked by two very talented analysts who will be aiding with what to look out for in all of those fixtures. Don't forget that the program is proudly sponsored by our friends at MaxBet. It's on this www.maxbet.ng to see things for yourself. So let me introduce from my immediate right. Yes, to talk about this with me sitting by my right is the one and only Bonfrey Joe. Bonfrey Joe. Arsenal are cruising. Yeah, you said it the other day. And also having the CI Zoro. So let's talk about this. First and foremost, it will be interesting to look at the Champions League Galatasaray up against Liverpool. Whenever we talk about Gala, the point of concern is always Osimhen. And it's just important to look at the inconsistency of Liverpool as a team. And if Galatasaray have got a chance to make it to the last eight.
For me, I think in this option, I think I will go with Galatasaray in the other one because having played a total of 3-4 games in a row in the Champions in Europe, I think these two teams, Galatasaray has a better option. You haven't won 3 straight of those games, and Liverpool has just one win in that. So I think Galatasaray should be in a better chance to get something with their current form and the kind of players they have, like Osimhen. He will always turn up anytime he's there.
Okay, turning up every other moment. And it's not, I've been accused of not having character, not delivering the goods when it's the most important. What are you looking at when they face a stubborn Galatasaray team?
I like when you started and then you said it's a stubborn Galatasaray team. Basically, I'm super proud of our countryman who has gotten far. I think the last time Galatasaray got this far was Didier Drogba. I don't want to exaggerate it, but that is when Galatasaray got into the competition and then apparently did well to an extent. Now they are around this particular round, and I really wish Galatasaray to be able to succeed. This is the reasons. If they succeed, it keeps pushing the Turkish league to a particular place where our countryman will get recognition. But let's face the fact: if we are to judge by the last 5 matches, I think Liverpool has had 4 clean sheets back to back, and Galatasaray has had about 3. That's in the last 5 matches. But then I feel Galatasaray, having won their last match, is in all confidence to equally, battle with the Liverpool team that has, a very palatable slate recently. I feel Galatasaray will give Liverpool a run for their money, but it will be a very tough match from beginning to end.
Okay, tough match beginning to end. Atalanta takes on Bayern Munich. Another interesting fixture. A lot of persons are saying Bayern Munich is the favorite to come out in this fixture. We know what Vincent Kompany been doing ever since. And the way it ended the last time for them, I feel like they want to go a step further, but it all starts with getting results in the last 16. Do you think Atlanta stand any chance against Bayern in this one?
I think very, very, very well. I think that Atlanta may not have it easy against Bayern because Bayern has, in their last 7, they've gone unbeaten in their last 7 games. While on the other half, Atlanta, they lost their last match, their second to their last match, they lost it. So against what is it called? Lazio, they got a draw there. But for Bayern Munich has been the king of German football. Getting a win against Borussia Dortmund was a plus for them. So for me, I think Bayern Munich is a better side to get a win in this game.
Okay, better side to get a win, and they faced a German side before coming to face another German side in this particular fixture, and you begin to wonder if they had maybe an easier battle before they got into this one. Atlanta, your opinions here?
Okay, so Atlanta had the struggle before they got to this particular place, right? And Atlanta to me is not in the best form. Bayern is massively in that particular form, having Kane who equally converts. As far as I'm concerned, is a Bayern game.
Okay, Bayern looking like the most right in that particular fixture. Let's come Madrid up against Tottenham Hotspur. Tudor is now in charge at Spurs. It's not looking like Spurs have been defeated instantaneously. When you go against Atletico Madrid side, they've got a new man, a Dominic man, who is spurring them to score goals. In fact, they've been on a rampage, winning games, scoring goals. When we saw them lose to Barca in the Copa del Rey, although they went ahead even after losing 3 goals to nothing to move into the next round of that competition. Do you see Tottenham being a wall that will stand against the chances of Atlanta moving just to the next round of the Champions League?
Atlanta is springing up with a good form in their midfield and their attack. Atletico Madrid. The form in the center midfield and the striking force is massive now since the coming of Ademola Lookman. It has been a plus for them. While on the other side for Tottenham, I tell you the truth that Tottenham is not finding it easy. Even in the league, they're not finding it easy. Having gone 5 straight without getting a win, they've lost 5 games in a row.
Yeah, losing 5 games in a row is not funny, but we must also agree that the one that they lost at the New Tottenham Stadium last night
was massive.
Talking about losing that particular one on Thursday was massive to an Oliver Glasner team that is obviously struggling, and that tells you the entire story of what you need to know about this particular team. I think there is an SOS for Tudor. They must, in fact, as a matter of fact, they might be relegated this season
if they continue like this, they will.
Because they
are just 1 point ahead of the
1 point ahead of the teams in the drop zone. We'll see what happens with that one. But looking at form, it's looking like it's all Atletico in that one.
Oh yeah, just like Bonfu said, Tottenham has lost every single bit of what I thought they should be able to hold on to. Losing 5 straight, that's massive. Atletico Madrid has always been this force to reckon with. We know that. Surprisingly, I wouldn't lie, Tottenham gave an impressive show in this Champions League to be here up to this particular round, considering what they're doing at the league level. But then I think it might be the end of the road for them at this particular version, because Atletico Madrid is on a winning spree. If they are not winning you, they are drawing you. They just don't want to lose out entirely. And in this case, I don't even see a draw. I see an outright win against Tottenham.
Of course, I guess Tottenham, a lot of bookies are going, but sometimes we know it doesn't go just as planned all the time. Another fixture that's interesting to look out for in the Champions League for Tuesday is Newcastle up against Barcelona. We must also reckon that Barca have been in a good form. In fact, remember that in 2025, we saw the game between Newcastle and Barcelona, where Barcelona were 2-1 winners. That was last year. And if you go back to all of the time that they've met, it's always Barcelona coming out, apart from in 1997, where Newcastle were winners 3-2. What I feel like is a new crop of Newcastle players recently, but we must also salute the form of this Barcelona side. Of course, within the last three, the game against Levante, VRL, and even against Atletico Madrid, bouncing back to make a point in that one. Also, they also lose against Girona, and that tells you about inconsistency in that Barca side. Do you think Newcastle as an English side can pose a problem for Barcelona?
Yeah, Newcastle as an English side can do that because considering the fact that Newcastle with 10 men, they got a win against the United that had a massive, when you say massive, you have a massive forward in the lines of their midfield and their attack was massive. But still, this team got a win with one man down, they got a win there. So I think Barcelona should watch it in this one. Barcelona may be in form, but Newcastle may seem to be an upset in that game for them.
Yeah, Barcelona are looking very strong. We saw Lamine Yamal score a hat trick, and I've seen him in a very fine form. I feel like he would make a huge difference in that particular fixture. Do you see Newcastle knocking out Barcelona by any chance in the Champions League?
Newcastle should keep the ball on the ground, play tiki-taka, make sure their passes, they have a percentage of pass accuracy. You understand? 75% of pass accuracy is not a bad start. Have your passing because this is where Barcelona will want to take advantage of you. You understand? So I feel if Newcastle, with their current resilience, to have won the Manchester United side with one man down, shows that these people are, the force to reckon with. Now, so I feel Newcastle should keep the ball down, just like I said before, and focus from start to finish. If they can, the Barcelona side can be defeated. A lot of persons have done that before. So
Okay.
they will be the first.
While we also saw Chelsea beating that Barcelona side very well in this season's Champions League in the big phase.
And remember, Barcelona will definitely come to that match with the belief that they open. Where is Newcastle in the game? That was how Barcelona came into the Chelsea match that we talked about. With the belief that it was over. Only for Chelsea to deal mercilessly with them. I wonder why you are looking at me these few years.
Okay, we go to Bayern Leverkusen up against Arsenal. An interesting picture. In fact, if Arsenal wants to win a quadruple, they must go over Bayern Leverkusen. Travel to Germany in the first leg, and then England to do justice in the second leg. You see Banana Peel? I know you never see.
No, it's not that I don't see. One thing I understand that Arsenal had a very good run in the group stages. They were 100% in the group stages. So I think if they don't, they should have to continue with that impression, showing that they are the world best when it comes to the Champions League presently now. They should be saying that yes, we are better than most of these teams, having got a straight, as in winning all the group games and with a good number of goals. So I don't think the German side will be a threat to them. It won't be a threat to them because Arsenal has had it has not been rosy in their last 3 matches. Understand? Losing one, in their last 5 matches, they've got 2 draws and 4 wins. So for the others, for the German side, it's not been a rosy one for them. Lose one and got 2 draws in their last 4. So for me, I think Arsenal has an upper hand here, considering the fact of the kind of defense and the type of threat their keeper pulls to any striker that comes to that 18-yard box.
Okay, Leverkusen, not the team we used to be under the former coach Xabi Alonso, who have been relieved from Real Madrid already. We're waiting to see where he will be pitching his tent anytime soon. Do you think Arsenal have just got a game that they must win?
Arsenal with their pass accuracies is above 80% from my own point of view. I feel Arsenal has an upper hand against Leverkusen. As a matter of fact, let me generalize it for a moment. I feel like the English side probably has an upper hand against all the opponent teams that are not English. But then let's talk about Arsenal. Arsenal is going to have that match as a walkover match. Somebody would argue and say Leverkusen actually qualified and has proven to be very, very resilient to be able to do that. But then Leverkusen might not be able to withstand what Arsenal has on the wings and on the forefront with their midfield. I feel it's supposed to only accept Arsenal comes into that match as they usually do on some days when you expect them to make it fun to be, and they now crash the party.
Okay, crashing the party is one thing. Not necessarily Arsenal bottling companies. I was seeing that the teams that finished top 100% run last season, talking about Liverpool, and they were knocked out of the UEFA Champions League. But those games are Sporting CP is like for like. I feel like no one can predict much about that. So let's talk about Paris Saint-Germain up against Chelsea. It's true that Luis Enrique has said this is no time for payback. It's not about revenge. They will go into it as an important game, no doubt. But some supporters are very loud about it and are saying loudly to whoever that wants to listen that Paris Saint Germain looking like a stronger side than Chelsea, who've been very inconsistent. What are you thinking?
Both teams, I would say, both teams are on the same page per se now because Paris Saint Germain
Not
lately has
consistent too.
yeah they've not been consistent. While on the other side, Chelsea has not been consistent too. But one thing you should understand that this game, no matter what it takes, it's a rival game. It's a rival match. What happened in the Club World Cup, I believe it really took away something from Paris Saint Germain. They never believed it. They never saw it coming. So they want to a repeat of what happened in that Club World Cup again. So I think they will put everything in there to get a win in that match.
Okay, everything to get a win. In the Champions League 2015, it ended 2-2 at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea got a 2-1 win at Parc des Princes. We saw them in 2016 also in the Champions League. Chelsea winning 2-1 in 2016, and in the return leg it was Paris Saint-Germain who won 2-1. Now let's talk about the Club World Cup. It was 3-0, and that's the most recent in 2025 last year. If you look at the form, you rightly said they are almost on the same pedestal now. Who do you think should be coming out top in this fixture to make it to the last 8?
It's a very tough decision to do. These are the reasons. Judging from Chelsea's head-to-head with Paris Saint-Germain, I think it's been equal on the draws, but then Paris Saint-Germain has had an upper hand in terms of wins, although Chelsea has had an upper hand in terms of goals. But that's not the point of contention. At this particular point, judging from that recent match from the Club World Cup, Paris Saint-Germain will be coming into this match as a revenge. They don't need to scream it out for you to know that that is what's going to happen. But then again, Chelsea is going to be testosterone the coach for the first time, as far as I'm concerned, in what Chelsea would consider an all-important match.
High-profile game.
You understand? So this is a very big test for the interim manager, for this particular manager that is with Chelsea at this point. I feel like it will make or mar him. You know, if he wins this match, then there's this possibility that he could be considered, somewhere in between getting closer to being a coach to reckon with. Because having met Champions League at a particular stage and having won the matches that brought him up to this place, I think this will make or mar him at this point.
Okay, it could be, but I think talking about making or mar, we must also look at Real Madrid, who takes on Man City in the final game in the Champions League. In fact, it's important to note that Satina Beloa is struggling. He was beaten 2-1 by Osasuna in La Liga. And the last time out, Getafe got a 1-0 win over Real Madrid. And not minding that 2-1 win against Benfica is just the last time that they've won in the last 3 games, and that's not so good. And then remember the 1-0 that they got away from home at Benfica. So looking at Manchester City, who've won the last 4 of their last 5, the 5th one being a draw against Nottingham Forest, I don't think Pep Guardiola will be sparing anything at all to want them to beat this Real Madrid team. I feel like the coach is a little inexperienced.
Yeah, the coach is a little inexperienced. But one thing you should know about is that Real Madrid, the name Real Madrid stands as a household name when it comes to the Champions League. So if they're not there, they're not there. You understand? So I think Guardiola should be watching out for that first.
The Real Madrid Champions
Yes.
League marriage.
Yes, he should watch it. One thing you should understand is that even Pep Guardiola's side is not consistent
They have been in the last 5.
in their last five. But considering the last match against the Nottingham Forest, in Nottingham Forest it was as good as it was a walkover for them. For me, if anybody can say it was like a walkover game for them, but you saw the way it ended. It became a banana place for them. So I think they should watch it. If they shouldn't make that same mistake again against this Real Madrid team.
And a lot of people are saying that Real Madrid transforms whenever it's the Champions League. And you've just made that point. You see, when the anthem comes on, it's always different for Real. And I feel it's part of the things to watch out for more. I feel like anytime Elidia Bandoa is a coach who is very much ahead. Pep Guardiola
Yes,
is a
the
coach
team
who's
very much ahead of
Bandoa.
Abandoa, but considering the Champions League,
Significance. That could make a whole world of difference. What's your take now?
Okay, so Real Madrid has been inconsistent lately, and the only one which shocked a lot of persons, including me, was the draw against Nottingham Forest has been Manchester City. But then again, Real Madrid might flop in an El Clasico, might flop in, but when it comes to Champions League, it looks like they are rejuvenated to very large extent, regardless of who the manager at the front is, So it's not going to be an easy one because if you check their head to head, they are all equal. 5 draws, 5 wins, and then 5 losses too on each part. But I feel that Real Madrid would actually give City a run for their money. But then again, City might have an upper hand in winning. When somebody's giving you a run for your money, and because the person is too focused on wanting to win, any lapses from that particular person who is too focused, Manchester City takes advantage of that and then delivers. They have two very running strikers. Let me use that. Mbappe is there. Kylian Mbappe is there. Vinicius is there from the Real Madrid side. Who puts that ball on the
Mbappe been
run?
injured for some time now. I wonder what his match fitness will be before
We can't tell.
the game.
And then we have Haaland and the new black boy, what's his name again? Semenyo, who will equally give it for Manchester City. So I believe that the match is definitely going to be one to reckon with a City who, if what's it called, Real Madrid makes the slightest of mistakes.
Slight mistakes win games, especially in the Champions League, a night where you must bring your A game if you want to continue being involved. Don't forget to still Bua Community Voices, the program Sports Preview, proudly powered by our friends at MaxBet. Yes, MaxBet, www.maxbet.ng are our proud sponsors. I believe we'll be able to give you a sneak peek into what the first leg of the UEFA Champions League last 16 could be coming us, and we hope that the games will bring us joy as usual. Remember, as a passionate fan, you can stand the chance to even be more passionate if you can visit www.maxbet.ng. Thank you very much for your superb analysis, and I must appreciate you for giving it your very best. This is much we can take. Saying adios.